So today I wanted to continue with my techniques on the Harlequin models by showing you how I do the stripes on the arms and some of the body parts that I've been working on the Harlequin. So this is one that I've already completed. This is for the second Harlequin, and I'm going to go ahead and show you on this new part how I got to that point. So we begin with using some Mahogany from Vallejo Air. I'm going to add some water to my palette, and what we're going to do is glaze in the shadows in the arms. So this is the Vallejo Mahogany. And what I do, again, a brush liquor, so I'm going to thin down my paint with a little bit of spit and glaze on my shadows. Now if they ever go on a little too thick, again, I'll just lick my brush a little bit and be able to thin them down. Go. We call that spit blending. Using your spit is a liquid medium. I'm trying not to hit. We got my girlfriend, she got me a new camera mount for Christmas, and I'm using it. So this is the first time using a newer setup and doing the tutorial with it. So you'll have to bear with me as I get used to it. Right now I'm glazing in my shadow using that Mahogany, trying to keep it thin. If any of the areas get a little bit too thick, I can always go back and mix like a little bit of my yellow in and glaze over where that shadow line starts. If the shadow line gets a little bit hard, I can go in and glaze over it. Ooh, there we go, bumping the mount again. Let the camera focus. And here where I have this little bit of a line where my shadow is, I'll go in my palette, grab some of the golden yellow. I think that was a notification coming through. Thin that down on my thumb a little bit, and then go back over this line here where the shadow's getting a little bit harsh. And kind of do the opposite of what I did with the Mahogany to bring it back down and blend it in. Thin down my yellow with a lot of water, probably like 75%. And then pull that down. You can already see how it kind of softens the transition there. And once we get the stripes in, we can always edit the shadow a little bit, because this is going to be more of a guideline for us as we're putting the stripes in. So let me go ahead and move to our black layer here. This is going to be our stripe, or the beginning of our stripes. I'm going to take some black, and again, I want to make sure that it's fairly thin. If the brush is pretty wet, because I don't want the black to dry on me when I'm trying to pull this line. Start, and we got a little bit of a curve to go around, so I'm going to make sure I try and line it up with the way the body's moving. And then once I have one edge of this line nice and neat, I can add a little bit of width to it. And pull it out from the other side. a little bit too much water in my paint there, so I add some more to it. Add some more paint. Alright, I got a little bit. Sorry, I bumped the camera again. Alright. Now let's pull one more line. And we want the spacing to be about the width of our first line. And it can be kind of difficult as you go around the arm to make sure that your stripes are going to line up. And I've done a few of these before, so I've kind of already felt out how how thick these stripes need to be to match up on each side. So the first time you do this, you might want to practice your lines a few times before you commit to really highlighting or coloring any of them. Pull this over the elbow. It's not super easy doing this out of my comfort area of it being right up against my chest when I paint, because I paint pretty close to myself, so I'm trying to reach out and make sure that I'm getting most of what I'm doing under the camera here. Okay, so we got a couple stripes in now. I'm going to go back to my mahogany, thin down with some of the golden yellow, and then pull some shadow back into this stripe. And I can go over my black a little bit because the mahogany is not going to really coat over the black very well. You can see my shadow starting to develop there. And then if I want to highlight just a little bit in the middle of the stripe where the arm is raised, pull some of this golden yellow over here, add some white. And this can be fairly thick as long as you're not stepping up your layer super high. Because if you step up your layer too drastically, then you're going to see the paint line. But the white mixed with the golden yellow really does coat fairly well. I know most time yellows are pretty hard to work with, and they're frustrating. So I recommend, if you're going to be working with yellow, that if you have an airbrush, go ahead and airbrush your base layer in the yellow. And if you don't have an airbrush, then make sure you prime in white, and you do, at least 2 or 3 coats of this yellow before, especially the golden yellow. It's a really nice yellow, but it takes a lot of coats to make it coat well. So now that we have a little bit of a highlight here, I got a line there that I'm not super happy with, so I'm going to just take a little bit of the golden yellow and try and smooth that down just a little bit more. Pausing between layers just to let it dry a little bit. Reloading. Because if the paint's wet on the model and we keep brushing, all we're going to be doing is pushing paint around. And it's not going to do anything. So we want to wait for that. So now we can see a defined highlight right here at where the elbow kind of pokes out a little bit, and where the arm is going to meet the body, we've got a nice shadow starting, and then right here where it meets up to the glove, because the arm's position on the model is going to be straight up like that, so we want that little funny bone area to pop out. So with the black on these models, they're actually highlighted in purple. So I'm going to take a little bit of my purple, Add some black, and any little bit of color that you add to black is gonna show up pretty well. So. Adding that to the same area where my white highlight is. I might add just a little bit of white to this to brighten it up, and then bring it up a little bit more with the purple. There we go, just a little bit of highlight there to kind of bring out the line, so we don't just have a solid black line leading into the arm. I'm just adding a little bit more purple here to the highlight, and I just want to touch right here along the arm where the forearm pokes out a little bit, and maybe trailing back in to where the armpit's going to be. And that's the process for my stripes. I do recommend, if you're going to be, again, doing detailed painting, that you pick up a at least a sable brush. It doesn't have to be a Winsor Newton, but those are the brushes that I prefer, and that you get you a good handle. The mount that I have this arm on is actually a bamboo skewer that I've drilled into the bottom so I can chuck it into my model holder. And then I have a little magnet that I picked up from K&J Magnetics online. I'll put their link in the description of the video so you guys can check out their magnets. But all the magnetizing that I do for my models, I get my magnets from them because they make good magnets, and they got a ton of different choices for magnets. But that's it for this one, and like always, if you have any questions, please feel free to comment, and we'll see you next time.